Here we go then.
My first event of the season was the BMAD Bike Festival in Paignton, and after quite a long drive there, I was ready to go and explore the pier.
Hello, we've arrived in Paignton. Welcome to the slightly spooky, because all the lights are still on and everything seems to still be running, Paignton Pier, and hopefully in the background you can just about see the lights on the other side, so hopefully later in the week you'll get a bit of a better look at that.
No time for that now though, as it was time for bed, and the next day was going to be a big one.
And this is the BMAD Bike Festival, or it will be. It's not really set up yet. But the wall's actually doing pretty well, so let's go and have a look at that. Sorry about the noise of freakouts moving in next door, but I think this is the first time I have ever been with the Wall of Death and been able to see the sea from the top of the wall. How exciting. Classic pier stuff going on in Paignton, of course. One of these ones where you walk all the way through the arcade. You've got to, trying to avoid all the flashing lights. And then you feel like you're right out there. I've had to retreat down the pier as there's a couple canoodling at the end where I wanted to film from. I'll get back to you once we've built the wall up tomorrow. Tilt behind me being raised so they can have the first ride of the season. Getting the bikes warmed up, you can hear them in the background as we are at the top of the Wall of Death at the moment. This is it then, the first ride of the season. Ken Wolf and Luke Fox are taking the bikes up onto the wall, just getting things warmed up, making their final preparations. Having drawn a long straw and only been tasked with changing a few spark plugs, Luke has foolishly used the phrase, "the rest of the day's your own." So I'm going to go for a ride around the town. Never wanting to be too far away from inland water, I've popped to Victoria Park. The only park I know that has a railway line running through the middle of it.
The skate park, with the exception of me, thankfully, was empty. This is Victoria Street. Pedestrianised in 2002, it and the rest of the area is full of the usual array of eateries, shops selling tat and arcades. Though I did find this interesting emporium on a back street. Just behind it is the wonderfully historic parish church, with the oldest part being a Norman door dating back to around 1100. The north door on the inside is also old, with a cute dog door at the bottom, presumably to kick out misbehaving mutts. Some of the roof bosses are medieval, with many of the parishioners having a soft spot for the one with 3 hairs. All somehow have a pair of ears each, even though there are only 3 on the design. To the side is the Kirkham Chantry, the screen being of particular interest. If you visit, see if you can find this tiny, hidden, out-of-keeping cherub-like face that the artist sculpted in to sign off their work, one of the few heads that was spared during the Reformation when the other figures had theirs smashed off. As I was leaving, a builder was coming in to pray, and Yvonne, a church worker, let me grab an exclusive photo of Coverdale Tower from the vicarage garden. If you want to find out more about the church, pop to their website. It's full of information and an online visitor's book that I signed. Back to the bottom of Victoria Street, and I met up with the other part of the railway line, leading to the station for both the main line and the Dartmouth Steam Railway.
Back there is the park, and swinging around to the other side, it's one of these old school stations that's right in the middle of the town, and a level crossing that seems to go off constantly. In fact, an ambulance just got stuck there.
Lots of people say they want to live by the sea, and plenty of jobs are available here. Having a few minutes to pop to the harbour, I did. After all, this is traditionally a fishing village, with some fishing work clearly still going on. I spoke to Mike, in the boat on the left here, who was having some work done to his whelk rack. It's a sea snail sieve. I am very used to bus stops, but this is a ferry stop with its own timetable. Go by boat, it says. I left for dinner wondering if you had to put your hand out. First show of the day was at 11 o'clock, and we were ready for it. Bikers are plenty along the seafront, and they would be queuing to watch the show. Martin Spieling meant that by the second show, at almost midday, there were plenty and plenty of bikers around, and still more arriving.
and it is showtime on the Wall of Death, so I'll explain more about the show itself in future weeks.
In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter and on Instagram